Always Remember summary in 5 minutes. Always Remember is a deeply emotional and reflective story about memory, love, loss, and the invisible threads that connect people across time. At its heart, it explores how moments both big and small shape who we are, and how remembering can be both a source of pain and a form of healing. The story centers on a young woman named Alara, who returns to her childhood home after many years away. The house, once filled with laughter and warmth, now stands quiet and heavy with memories. She has come back after the passing of her grandmother, the person who raised her and taught her the importance of holding on to the past. Alara feels a mix of grief and distance, as if time has separated her from the life she once knew. As she walks through the house, every object seems to whisper fragments of her past. The old wooden table where she used to sit and listen to stories, the faded curtains that once danced in the summer breeze, and the ticking clock that marked countless ordinary yet precious moments, all of these stir something deep within her. At first, these memories feel overwhelming. Alara has spent years trying to move forward, believing that forgetting was the only way to escape the pain of loss. While sorting through her grandmother's belongings, Alara discovers a small, worn journal hidden in a drawer. Inside, she finds handwritten entries, simple reflections, advice, and stories from her grandmother's life. Each page carries a message, but one phrase appears over and over again: always remember. At first, Alara doesn't fully understand why her grandmother insisted on this idea. To her, remembering has always been tied to sadness and longing. As she continues reading, the journal reveals more than just memories, it reveals a philosophy of life. Her grandmother writes about how memories are not meant to trap us in the past, but to guide us forward. She describes moments of joy, hardship, love, and regret, showing that every experience has value. Even painful memories, she explains, are proof that something meaningful once existed. Through these writings, Alara begins to see her own life differently. She recalls the times she felt happiest as a child, the warmth of her grandmother's embrace, the stories told under dim light, and the sense of safety she once took for granted. But she also remembers the day she chose to leave, driven by a desire to escape the weight of her past. She realizes now that in trying to forget, she had also distanced herself from the parts of her identity that made her whole. The turning point comes when Alara reads a final entry in the journal. In it, her grandmother speaks directly about loss. She acknowledges that remembering can hurt, but she insists that forgetting hurts even more in the long run. If you forget, she writes, you lose not only the pain but also the love that came with it. Always remember, because memory is where love lives when everything else fades. These words deeply affect Alara. For the first time, she allows herself to fully feel her grief, not as something to run from, but as something to understand. She walks through the house again, but this time her perspective has shifted. Instead of seeing emptiness, she sees traces of a life well lived. Instead of silence, she hears echoes of laughter and love. Alara decides to stay in the house a little longer. She begins to restore it, not to preserve it exactly as it was, but to create a bridge between the past and the present. She cleans, repairs, and rearranges, all while holding on to the memories that once felt too heavy to carry. In doing so, she realizes that remembering does not mean being stuck, it means honoring what came before while continuing to move forward. By the end of the story, Alara has undergone a quiet but profound transformation. She no longer fears her memories. Instead, she embraces them as a source of strength and connection. She understands that the people we lose are never truly gone as long as we remember them, and that memory itself is an act of love. The story closes with Alara writing her own entry in the journal, continuing the tradition her grandmother began. She writes about her journey, her rediscovery of the past, and her newfound understanding of what it means to remember. As she finishes, she repeats the same phrase that guided her transformation: always remember. Ultimately, Always Remember is a story about the enduring power of memory. It reminds us that while time moves forward, the past remains a part of us. It teaches that remembering is not about holding on to pain, but about preserving the love and meaning behind it. And most importantly, it shows that in remembering, we find not only who we were, but also who we are meant to become.